What if believing you're smart is the most dangerous belief you could have? Picture this. It's 1995, and a man named MacArthur Wheeler decides to rob two banks in broad daylight, with no mask. When the police track him down using the crystal-clear surveillance footage, he's completely baffled. Why? Because he had smeared lemon juice all over his face, genuinely believing it would make him invisible to cameras. He was so sure he was a genius. He was, in reality, catastrophically wrong. And his story perfectly illustrates a bizarre glitch in the human mind that, to some extent, affects every single one of us. Wheeler's unbelievable story is a perfect, if extreme, example of a psychological trap called the Dunning Kruger Effect. First described by psychologists David Dunning and Justin Kruger in 1999, it's a cognitive bias where people with low ability in a particular area tend to dramatically overestimate just how good they are. In other words, being unskilled can make you feel like you're an expert. This isn't just about simple ignorance. It's about being blind to your own ignorance. The very skill you're missing is the same skill you need to spot your own mistakes. It's a paradox. The most confident person in the room is often the one who has the most to learn. So, what's really going on here? At the heart of the Dunning-Kruger effect is something scientists call a dual burden. The first burden is pretty straightforward. The person just isn't good at the task. The second, and more important burden, is that they lack the metacognitive skill to even know they're not good. Metacognition is just your brain's ability to take a step back and look at your own thinking. Without it, you're flying blind. Imagine a graph of confidence versus competence. Beginners often rocket to a massive peak of confidence, sometimes jokingly called Mount Stupid. With just a tiny bit of knowledge, they feel like they've got it all figured out. They simply don't know what they don't know. This leads to some pretty predictable and often frustrating behaviors. They might brush off feedback, seeing helpful criticism as a personal insult. They might confidently make terrible decisions, ignoring expert advice because they truly believe they know better. This overconfidence builds a wall against getting better, because if you're already an expert in your own mind, why would you bother to learn anything new? But here's the twist in the paradox. While the incompetent are off celebrating their genius, the truly competent often do the exact opposite. They underestimate their skills. Why? Because highly skilled people are painfully aware of just how much there is to know in their field. This awareness makes them more humble and cautious when they judge their own abilities. It's a phenomenon sometimes called the curse of knowledge, where experts forget what it's like to not have their knowledge and assume things that are easy for them are just as easy for everyone else. So you end up with two groups talking past each other. The people who know very little and are absolutely sure they're right, and the people who know a lot but are full of doubt. You see this everywhere, from heated online debates to your own workplace meetings. We often mistake confidence for competence, letting the loudest voice in the room win, even if it's not the most informed one. The good news is that the Dunning-Kruger effect isn't a life sentence. It's a cognitive bias, and since nobody is an expert in everything, it's something we all experience. The key to breaking out of the trap is to build a little self-awareness. Here are a few ways to do that. First, go out of your way to find honest, constructive feedback. It's comfortable to live in an echo chamber, but real growth only happens when you understand how others see you. Don't just ask for feedback. Actually learn to hear it without getting defensive. Second, just keep learning. The more you dig into a subject, the more you start to appreciate its complexity and see the edges of your own knowledge. Curiosity is the perfect antidote to fake confidence. The moment you think you know it all is the moment you should probably start worrying. And finally, learn to embrace a little intellectual humility. True wisdom isn't about having all the answers. It's about being okay with not having them. It's the simple power of being able to say, "I don't know." Or even better, I might be wrong about that. This mindset opens you up to new ideas and protects you from the dangerous blind spots that come with overconfidence. If this paradox got you thinking, maybe consider subscribing for more deep dives into how our minds work. And I have to ask, where have you seen the Dunning Kruger effect in your own life? Share your story in the comments. We've all been there. In the end, this whole paradox teaches us a pretty powerful lesson. Confidence without competence is a trap. Real intelligence isn't found in the certainty of what you know, but in the honest awareness of what you don't. By questioning ourselves and staying curious, we can make sure our confidence is built on a solid foundation of actual skill and avoid the fate of the guy who thought a little lemon juice would make him invisible.